Hey, so 5 things that you need to know about lease options. Hey, so a lease option's got to be structured as a win-win deal opportunity, right? You want to make money and you want to set it up right, but also your client on the other side of the deal has also got to succeed. And so that's really important to have that mentality going into the deal, going through the deal. You've probably heard about leaving money on the table for the next person. Really, that's what this is about. When you set up one of these deals, you can set up that you can succeed, but also that your client on the other side can also succeed. Right? You got to help them get into home ownership at a fair market price. And if you're doing a sandwich lease option, then you got 3 parties involved. You got to make it a win-win-win. Another thing that you're going to want for a successful lease option is to make sure that you've got the right paperwork, right? Make sure it's tried and tested. Don't just pull something off the internet or talk to a lawyer who's never structured one of these deals before. Because what you're going to find is they're going to put together a contract. They're going to call it a rent-to-own contract, and it doesn't work. A rent-to-own contract is not a true contract because it's a lease option. Now, rent-to-own is a word that everybody understands, or a phrase that everybody understands about, what a lease option is. It's called a rent-to-own. You rent to own it. Okay. So that makes sense. But technically, it's a lease with an option to purchase, right? So those are your 2 primary contracts that you need. But you also need several other contracts for asset protection. You want contracts that are going to help the tenant buyer qualify with the bank in the end, but also to protect your asset, right? I've seen contracts put together even by a lawyer, or lawyers. I've seen contracts put together that were one contract, 7 pages, a ton of paragraphs. I think they paid $1,500 for this one contract, and it didn't work. It wouldn't close in the end after the deal was done. And if the deal went sideways, like a simple thing, like if the tenant stopped paying rent and this contract went to the tenancy board, the deal would be shot, right? So you want separate contracts. So make sure that you get your contracts from a professional who's active in doing lease option. So another thing that you're going to need to know to put together a successful lease option deal is that, and this is really cool, there's 3 things here. The first one is that your tenant buyer is willing to pay a premium on their monthly rent in order to get into home ownership, right? So we actually credit that back to them. But what it means in the meantime, while you're renting the property to your tenant buyer, you're going to get higher than normal cash flow. So that's awesome. Second thing here is that your tenants are responsible for repairs up to 500 or 1,000 or whatever you set it at. But that's so cool because think about it. Plugged toilet, $200-300, get someone out there to fix it. A motor on the fridge goes. These are items that normally you as a landlord or the owner would bear, but now your tenant buyer is taking responsibility for them, and they know that going in, so there's no surprises there. The third thing that's really cool that you don't need to pay for a property manager. So the way I set my deals up is that really each tenant buyer in each of my lease option properties is my built-in property manager. Now, they're actually paying me for this service, not me paying them, which is a bonus. But if I've got a question about the property, I just call up my property manager at that property, the tenant, and I give them a manual on how to take care of the property. We do triennial visits where we get in the property to make sure that that stuff is being taken care of. But they're looking after the property for us. So if there's any issues, they're going to be calling us as well. And we don't have to pay a third-party property management, which these 3 things, increase cash flow, less maintenance costs, and no property management fees. That's how you make good money and good cash flow doing a lease option deal. So you also need to know your numbers. That's obviously super important. But for yourself, running the deal, you need to know what your mortgage payments are, where your mortgage is going to be at the end of the term, and when your term ends so that you can line up your tenant buyer to qualify at the end of your term. And also you need to track their funds coming in. So how much did they put down? How much are you crediting them back each month? How much are you crediting them in 3 years in total? And to be able to track those numbers so that you can provide the bank with proof. These are some of the key aspects regarding the numbers that you need to know to put together a successful lease option with your tenant buyer. So lease options and rent-own are a great strategy to help people get into home ownership. It's also a great investing strategy for higher than normal cash flow. You can do low to no money down deals with this, as well as one of the key things that I've been exploring a lot lately is turning around a property that's underwater or sideways, meaning that you've got payments or expenses that are higher than what's coming in, or you owe more than what the property's worth. So check out this video, how to salvage a sideways real estate deal. Take action. So these are the 5 things that you need to know to put together a successful lease option deal. Hope you found it helpful. Don't forget to hit like, comment, love to hear your feedback and questions, and please hit the subscribe button. Take action.